Hello everybody, this is Freaking Rican from Freaking Rican News Network, and today we're going to get into why it's important to see people doing audits not only on the streets, but also in the office of public officials. I got a story coming out from a place that's near and dear to my heart, a place I was born and raised, my hometown, Fort Myers, Florida. There's a lot of police corruption in this town, Southwest Florida. But here's a little story I picked up right here.
Round of scrutiny tonight for Fort Myers police. Two previously unreleased pages of an audit are raising more questions about officer involvement with drugs, hits, and cover-ups. Wink News anchor Brittany McDonald has been digging through these serious allegations of corruption. She joins us live now from City Council. Brittany.
Well, City Council is meeting here tonight just days after we first got our hands on these new shocking documents about the Fort Myers Police Department. But no word yet on if they plan on discussing them. People living in Fort Myers, though, are expecting answers.
It's very disheartening.
Crystal Johnson is losing hope in the Fort Myers Police Department as even more shocking allegations of corruption come out in these new and heavily redacted documents.
With each report, it has gotten worse. And it's not making you want to trust law enforcement anymore.
Officers leaked information, a witness murdered. Just a few phrases in the appendix to the Free Group's report we got the rest of back in February that already outlined a lack of resources and integrity.
To think that they would even say that an officer would have anything to do with someone being murdered, you know, just to that extreme, that's really scary.
Now, with allegations of drug trafficking and even murdering of witnesses, I mean, these are shocking bombshells to find in this appendix. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we got to smoke that out and discover what it is and solve that issue.
In the 8 months since the rest of the report has been out, some recommendations have been completed by the department, like hiring a public information officer and getting outside assistance to investigate these allegations. But many still left to be done.
I think we need to stay laser focused on executing the 32 recommendations. And I hope we can do it sooner, but I'm more hopeful that we do it exactly right.
We need to start building this relationship. We can't build until this is resolved.
Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating, but no word on how long that will take. Now, this document also points to the year 2012, which also happens to be the year the city of Fort Myers had the most amount of homicides in the past 7 years. Mayor Randy Henderson told me today, though, that Fort Myers is much safer now than in years past.
Now, did everybody see how heavily redacted those files were? And the 8 months that you're talking about back in August 2017 is they declined to renew contract with police audit firm. So they declined to be audited by this company. And as you can see how heavily redacted that one report was, there's, you know, they're hiding something. They don't want people to know. So here's the story about this 8 months
Keeping your
earlier.
city safe. Fort Myers police say they've fallen behind in a number of changes they need to make in an outlined audit. Today marks 6 months since the Free report came out, and the department is supposed to be done with phase 2 of those changes, but they haven't even finished phase 1. Wake News reporter Jessica Alpern's live from police headquarters with what this means going forward now.
Well, Lindsay, at least for right now, it means no new contracts for the group that made those recommendations for the Fort Myers Police Department. Now, since the audit came out in February, the city has made a number of changes, including hiring an outside party to help investigate officer misconduct and a public information officer. And the chief says both homicides and violent crimes are down, but City Council refused to renew a $300,000 contract with the company that made safety recommendations because FMPD is far behind where it should be. It's supposed to be done with phase 2 of those changes. But last night, Chief did changes that were supposed to be put into action immediately.
Brings up concerns that we're not sure what's going on with the police department. And I had trust in the police department before, and I don't have that sense of community and trust with my current police department.
Some city leaders say since FMPD is behind, it's a waste of your money to move forward. There are a lot of important items that still need to be put into action, like hiring a cold case investigator to help with all of the unsolved homicides in the city and better training for handling those cases. Now, Mayor Henderson says it's a grave mistake not to move forward.
And I'm imploring this council, if not begging, to stay the course and solve this, because the progress is evident. We don't have to guess about this.
And Mayor Henderson has asked that the city manager meet with the free group to talk about what's been done so far, what still needs to be done in order to revisit the issue. For now, reporting in Fort Myers, Jessica Alpern, Wink News Now.
Okay, so you see how the transparency is. You know, they refuse to renew a contract to an audit firm that is telling them how to improve what they're doing and what they're not doing. They don't like to be told what they're not doing. You know, they're supposed to serve and protect the community, but refuse to take any kind of criticism or any kind of accountability to what they haven't done. And if you check out this guy's YouTube channel, is Charlotte County, Florida Cop Watch 2, he's got all kinds of stories of South Florida and the corruption and the misconduct. But you know, it takes place everywhere, not just in police stations. Like I found this from Doomer, town of Doomer. And this woman, she was a town clerk tax collector, and she stole from the taxpayers in the town. It says on April 13th, Latardi, 57, appeared before Justice Lawrence McLeod and pled guilty to 3 counts of theft by unauthorized taking, 1 count of fraudulent use of a credit card, and 22 counts of forgery. She's got 4 of the charges that Latart pleaded guilty to are Class A felonies, meaning they carry terms of up to 15 years, while the rest are Class B felonies, whose terms range from 3.5 to 7 years. It says McCormick has said investigators determined that Latart embezzled $149,509.95 from the town's account payable and receivable accounts over a 6-year period beginning in January 2011. Separately, the town estimates that Latart's actions have cost Doomer nearly $50,000 in legal and accounting fees. She served as Doomer's elected town clerk/tax collector from 2007 until she was removed from office in July 2016. She definitely was a tax collector. According to court documents, Latard used some of the money she stole to pay personal bills for airline tickets and passes to Disney World and for an RV site at a facility in Maine. It says, if her sentence involves actual prison time, Latard would be limited or entirely unable to work and therefore unable to make restitution. So her lawyer's trying to get her off as far as wanting to pay the town back. Another excuse they're using is Latard has a sick relative who needs her care, adding that another reason why a lengthy prison term would be inappropriate is that his client is truly sorry for what she has done and recognizes the breach of trust inherent in crimes of this nature. So the money she was taking the plane tickets she was buying, the going to Disney World, RV site at a facility in Maine, all those all those actions she was doing were illegal, but now that she's caught, now they want to use the excuse that she has a sick relative who needs her care. It says in the state sentencing memo, McCormick argued that Letard stole the equivalent of $491 from each citizen of Doomer, a small hamlet in an economically depressed region of New Hampshire. The only way the state would be able to send a message of deterrence, he said, was for McLeod to impose a sentence that includes prison time. So it's real important to, not only do audits on the streets, but it's just as important to audit the offices, the police stations, the courthouses, because they need to be held accountable too. And you see, when they get caught, they try to make excuses. This lady was doing this for over 6 years, and then when she gets caught, now she has a sick relative who needs care, and she may have a sick relative who needs care, but when she was going to Disney World and paying her personal bills and airline tickets, it didn't seem to matter then. So, like I said, it's real important to do audits everywhere. We as a citizen, taxpayers, have that right to see where our money is being spent, where our money's going. But that's all I got right now. Just a few stories about how auditing in buildings is just important. So this is Freaking Rican News Network. I'll talk to everybody later. Peace.